Do you honestly think some of these players are getting injured, or are they getting injured like on purpose, like because of the World Cup? You know what I mean? Like you want to be as fresh as you can, as healthy as you can for this tournament. And honestly, I'm gonna say I feel like some are lying about their injury and some are not. Like Lamine Yamal gets injured taking a penalty, and this doctor is gonna explain. We're gonna find out if it's true or not true.
With World Cup just under 2 months away, Barcelona and Spanish football star Lamine Yamal appeared to suffer a muscle injury on this penalty kick, forced to leave the match early. And in this video, we'll take a closer look how exactly this injury occurred and what his status might be for the
Okay,
upcoming World Cup. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and the goal on the channel is to teach more about the medical side of the sports world. So, FC
teach me, teach
Barcelona,
me.
Spanish footballer Lamine Yamal injured on this penalty kick. The early reports are concerns for a hamstring strain, and I think that is accurate based on what we're seeing here with this play. So you have to think of what the muscles are doing, what the hamstrings are doing, and then
Okay,
think about how overstressing the hamstring muscle can cause an injury.
from a penalty
In this
kick.
case for Lamine Yamal, as he is going to take this penalty kick, I want you to pay attention to how much across his body his left leg goes, but then more importantly, how abruptly he tries to stop his momentum. So right in this position, he's a little bit externally rotated. You can see his toes
Okay,
are
looks
pointing
normal.
upwards. That external rotation is going to be aided by one of the hamstring muscles called the biceps femoris. And so as he's then kicking forward at that position, he's trying to quickly decelerate the forward firing of his leg. He's trying to fire his muscles to keep his leg from continuing to swing forward, and the hamstring is going to be the main muscle that does
Okay,
this.
makes
Whenever
sense.
a hamstring strain occurs, the primary phase of the running cycle is the kind of terminal swing phase. So where the foot is swinging out in front of you just before heel striking down towards the ground, that's when the hamstring is elongated and is firing to try to slow down the acceleration of the leg. So in this position, right, his quad is firing to kick through the ball to extend that knee forward. But then right here, his hamstrings are going to take over. They're going to contract really sudden. You see him go into that knee flexion. And that sudden contraction of his hamstring in this stretched position is what causes
There we
excess
go.
stretch on the hamstring. The fact that he's externally rotated puts more stress on the biceps femoris, which is going to be the most commonly injured muscle when you have a hamstring strain. I think this side-on view in real
But
time.
I'm not gonna lie, like it's just a regular kick. I doubt Lamine was going crazy force on this penalty kick.
Shows it better, just the quickness with which he tries to slow that leg down. Boom, he pulls it back right away. As he's firing through, real quick, pulls that leg back. And so that's going to rely on a significant amount of hamstring firing to prevent that knee from continuing to swing forward, limit that further knee extension, firing that hamstring
Listen,
really.
I'm no doctor, but I've been playing soccer for a long time. Honestly, what I think just happened here, if something happened here, was just a lot of stress, a long overdue stress, and this one kick, penalty kick, literally just took it over the edge. And that's where he
Feel
feels like a
suddenly
little bit of
right there
tension.
to pull that leg back in towards him is almost certainly when the muscle would have overstretched, become injured, and led to the tear. To understand a little bit better about the anatomy of those hamstrings, let's
Whoa.
look at our biodigital anatomy tool here, highlighting the hamstring muscles in that posterior or back compartment of the thigh. Hamstring muscles, there are three primary ones. They originate up in the pelvis at a bone called the ischial tuberosity. They then come down, they cross the knee joint. That's how they're
Okay.
able to provide flexion to the knee
Everything's
joint.
connected.
They cross the knee joint on the inner half. On the backside is the semimembranosus, semitendinosus. Those are going to involve a little bit of internal rotation of the femur. The semimembranosus is more often injured with an overstretch type of mechanism, where somebody like goes down and does the splits. On the outer side of the back of the thigh is going to be the biceps femoris. The biceps femoris has a long head and a short head, and that's going to go down and insert on the proximal head of the fibula, which is down below the knee.
So everything
The
affects
biceps
everything then.
femoris, because it's crossing that midline, inserting out lateral, when you pull that biceps femoris, it's going to have a tendency to externally rotate the foot. So when the foot is externally rotated and you're demanding muscle activation from the hamstrings, that's going to selectively more so load that biceps femoris. Now remember the adductor muscles, which we'll
Biceps
talk about later on,
femoris.
those are also going to come off.
Has a cool name.
Partially that ischial tuberosity sit in this kind of back medial portion of the thigh. So also something to keep in the differential with our anatomic model here. Of course, injuries can occur up at the tendon origin itself. You can have an avulsion where the tendon pops off the bone. That is certainly the worst
Ugh.
case scenario. More commonly is going
Yeah,
to just
no,
be
that's
a
not good,
disruption
guys.
of the muscle fibers in more of the muscle, potentially that distal or proximal myotendinous junction. But usually, kind of around this location, this area is going to be the most prone location whenever you have a kind of classic
Okay, so
hamstring
is
strain
Lamine gonna
of
go to
that
the World Cup
biceps
or not?
femoris muscle. So as we go back to the kick, he comes through for his windup here. He drops down into an extended position with that left knee. We see his foot is externally rotated. That
Yep.
external rotation of the foot is
Yep.
going to put more activation through the biceps femoris. As he then goes to
Biceps
fire
femoris.
through, his quad is trying to fire to extend the knee to kick the ball, but then his hamstring is already stretched. It's then trying to forcibly contract to slow the positioning, that acceleration through of the leg, and that overstretch in that externally rotated position is certainly prone to causing a hamstring strain. The other thing to just keep in mind, hamstrings and adductor groin injuries can kind of go hand in hand because both of those muscles originate kind of deep up near the buttock. And this fact that he is kind of
The
adducting
butt.
across his body, I do think something like an adductor strain has to be on their differential, because as you go from being outwards to crossing across that body, that is going to be adduction as he goes from out to in. That adduction is going to require a lot of demand
Ah,
on
he's
the
really
adductor
going
muscles. And
deep
so if
into
we hadn't
this,
heard
huh?
any
Deep
reporting yet about
analysis.
this, I would say hamstring
Huh.
versus adductor groin muscle. The reporting seems to indicate hamstring, but another important thing to keep in mind that the adductor muscles are also active during this phase of swinging the leg through, particularly going into that adducted position with him coming across his body. So now for return time, unless this is a serious like grade 3 severe complete
Nah, it
muscle
ain't grade
tear,
3.
tendon rupture, I would expect him to be back for the World Cup. The World Cup starts in a little under 2 months. And if you look at
Yeah,
some of the
48
studies
days
that
to be
Barcelona
exact.
themselves have put out regarding hamstring
48
strains,
days.
he should have time to return before the World Cup if this is a more grade 1, grade 2 strain. For grade 2, you're typically looking 3 to 4 weeks. For that grade 3, you might get up into the month and a half, 2 month time frame, but that month and a half would still put him back at the start of the World Cup. FC Barcelona did a study where across all hamstring grade types within their system, the average return time was 29 days for all hamstring injuries, and even
Ooh.
the most severe grade 3 biceps femoris strains were closer to 37 to 40
Okay,
days.
so
The big
Lamine
concern
Yamal's
is
good.
the re-injury risk. It's not so much will he get back for the World Cup if this is your average hamstring strain. It's what will
Now, I'm not gonna lie. Let's let him finish.
be the risk of repeat injury, which is certainly high coming back off of a hamstring strain. That's for the video, everybody. Let me know as always any questions.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. You have to be very careful coming back from an injury. If you come in too early, too fast, and Lamine Yamal in a World Cup game, everyone's going hard. So depending your intensity, you could get hurt again. So I think Spain should be careful. They should minimize his minutes in his group stage and round of 32. If they really need him, then put him in. But if they don't need him, I'd say minimize his minutes to like 20 minutes per game. Have him have minutes so that he has some rhythm in the tournament. And in the later stages, have him play the full 90, full extra time. Let that boy go crazy. And I think by then, he'll be good. Nice and healthy and strong. And we'll be able to see some amazing football from Lamine Yamal.